last night, Scooter Gennett, his second career 5-hit game. He had a home run. The Reds scored 3 in the 7th. Billy Hamilton tying the game with a 3-base hit. He would score the go-ahead run. Then in the 9th, Rockies with nobody out, load the bases. Reds get a force out at home, and then this. A line drive double play to end the game, and the Reds win it 6-5. And with that win, we turn the page to this beautiful Sunday afternoon in downtown Denver, Colorado. We're at Coors Field, and it's a rubber game of this 3-game series between the Reds and the Rockies. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. I don't know what else to say, what other adjective to use to describe what Scooter Gennett is doing right now in the month of May. He has been virtually unconscious.
Well, he's basically taken over the game when he's in there. I mean, last night when he had that 5-hit game, this was the game that was started by a left-handed pitcher. 4 of the 5 hits that he got came off of southpaws last night, scattering the ball all over the ballpark. I mean, his hit chart, he just fills up the entire board. And he's just on fire right now. A leader on the ball club, a vocal leader on the club, a cheerleader. I mean, everything you ask Scooter Gennett to do right now, he's getting it done.
Take a look at these ranks among all National Leaguers in the month of May. 2nd in average, 2nd in home runs, 3rd in RBI, 1st in slugging percentage. It's been a while since a Red has won the Player of the Month, and he's probably running neck and neck right now with Eugenio Suarez. Today's starter, Matt Harvey. Chris, I know you were very impressed with his last start when he beat the Pirates, getting his first win as a Red.
I mean, who wouldn't be impressed with that? I mean, he's getting better and better each time out, and I think that every time he is out, he's a one step further from that surgery that set him back so much with the Mets, and people gave up on him a little bit early. I really believe that he's going to continue to get better and better. He tells me his arm feels great, he's got a great feel of the ball, and he's getting very much closer to being the old Matt Harvey.
When we come back, we always check in with the main man on the Reds beat. You know who that is. That would be Jim Day. Walk-off wizardry. The wizard himself is standing by.
Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good, it's Skyline time. Well, the gentleman in the open talked about it. Everyone still pumped up about how last night's game ended. And let's relive some of the great game-ending plays over the last several years for the Reds, because there have been some good ones. Let's take you back to 2007. August 30th, Brandon Phillips fresh with the Reds, and look at the play he makes to Javier Valentin, applies the tag, and the Reds win 5-4. That's as big league as it gets. May 15th, 2010 versus the Cardinals. Francisco Cordero on the mound. Chris Heisey relay to Orlando Cabrera to Ramon Hernandez. That gets Skip Schumacher at the plate. Reds win 4-3. June 28th, last year versus the Brewers. Iglesias on the mound, and how about Jesus Aguilar strikes out. Iglesias gets Barnhart to throw out the runner, and the Reds win 4-3. And then last night, bases loaded, nobody out. They get a play at home, and then the line drive double play ends it. Reds win over the Rockies, which sets up today the rubber game of a 3-game set. Reds and Rockies coming up from the Rocky Mountains. The Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh standing by with the call. All the play-by-play action on Fox Sports Ohio.
Welcome to Coors Field in Denver, where the home team has taken the field in preparation of the final game of this 3-game series. Reds have been playing some nail-biters here of late. 4 consecutive one-run games, and they've gone 2-2. They're 5-11 overall in those one-run games, but much better here this week. Of course, one of those an extra inning loss to the Pirates. Well, certainly an elk and elk storyline to keep an eye on. Rockies have had their problems, Chris, in the first inning. The Reds scored in the first inning 2 runs, game 1, and the Jeanette home run last night.
Well, they have had their problems, and one of the main problems has been the guy who's on the mound today for the Rockies. Marquez has had a very, very tough time, really until his last time out. He had allowed a string there of 5 games in a row where he had given up runs in the first inning. He broke that string his last time out, but even though he's had early inning problems, this young man has really got some talent. He's got a live fastball that can run up there to 95 to 97 miles an hour. He's got a swing and miss breaking ball. And the one little wrinkle that he's added this year, the curveball was always his main breaking pitch. This year he's added a little velocity to it. They're calling it a slider, so it can be a really good put-away pitch. The other wild card for Marquez is the fact that he really struggles here at home at Coors Field. You wonder maybe if the light air here is just getting into his head.
Take a look at the Reds' starting lineup today. It'll be Winker in left field, Barnhart catching, Votto at first, Jeanette coming off a 5-hit game last night, Suarez at third, Shoveler at right, Peraza, Harvey, Hamilton, the latter third. And boy, Chris isn't exaggerating. 19 starts, 20 career appearances in this ballpark for Marquez. A 5.1 ERA this year. In 15 innings, he has given up 18 earned runs at home. So here we go. Winker to lead it off. He looks at ball one, and we're underway. Dan Bellino calls the balls and strikes. The crew chief Tom Hallion at first. Adam Hamari at second base. Bruce Dreckman, the umpire, at third. Winker lifts a fly ball into short left, and that's easy for Dahl, who moves from right field to left field for the first time in this series. And as we look at Colorado on defense, the reason Dahl has made the move is because it's the first start of this series for Carlos Gonzalez. Same infield we saw here last night. They brought McMahon up from the minor leagues prior to the game yesterday. And Tony Walters, his second start of the 3 games. They're hoping Gonzalez can be the player he's been for a long, long time. They brought him back late this year and has had a very slow start. Tucker Barnhart down a strike, 271 batting average, and a 3-hopper to Arenado. And the best defender at third base in all of baseball, considered by many, makes a play for 2 quick outs.
Wrong guy in the infield to hit anything to, whether it's a hard shot or whether it's a slow roller. Arenado really sets the standard for fielders all around baseball at third base.
Votto 3 of 8 in the series. And Votto has not knocked in a run in this series. In fact, it has been a long, long time since Votto has driven in a run. You've got to go all the way back to when the Reds were in San Francisco. He did not knock in a run on the last homestand, and none through the first 2 games of this series. That one smoked into right field. He is swinging the bat in this series, though. And he's trying to make it into a 2-base hit, and he will slide in easily with a 2-out double.
Yeah, I think that Joey Votto swings more 3-0 pitches than he does the 3-1 pitches. This is a 3-0 count right here. Marquez is coming with a fastball. Votto wants to get the head out, and he does, and rips it right by the right fielder for a double. That ball was right on the money.
So now Scooter Gennett, he hit a solo home run on the first pitch of his at bat in the first inning here last night, batting in the 2-hole. Followed that with a single to left, single to right, single to right, single to left. And that one is fair down the left field line. The beat goes on for Scooter Gennett, nearly a 400 batter now here in the month of May. His 6th double of this month, his 23rd batted in this month, and it's 1-0 Reds.
Well, just when you think you're getting through the first inning with no problems at all, you have an easy fly ball, you have a slow ground ball out, 2 out, nobody on. Votto hits a double on a 3-0 count, and then Scooter Gennett takes a pitcher's pitch right down the left field line. I mean, right now there's anywhere close to that strike zone. You could throw the ball and get Scooter out. He's just in one of those little grooves.
Well, overshadowed during all this, at least the last couple of days, has been this guy, because even though Gennett's knocked in 23 runs this month, 3rd most in the league, the guy who leads the major leagues in runs batted in this month is a batter at the plate right now, a Eugenio Suarez. 26 up. And a chance to add to that total with 2 outs and Jeanette in scoring position here in the first inning. One on Suarez. The Reds so far in this series 5 of 16 with runners in scoring position and perfect 1-for-1 after the Jeanette double in the opening inning today. Two balls and a strike on Suarez, and he started 2, and the breaking ball is in the dirt. They appealed. He did not go around, so it's 3-1. Reds trying to make it back-to-back series wins for the first time all season. They won the rubber game of the 3-game set, wrapping up the homestand over the Pirates. And under Jim Riggleman, this team has been a .500 club in their last 32 games. They're 3 under overall with Riggleman as manager. But remember, when he replaced Brian Price, the team went to St. Louis and was swept in a 3-game series. So they started 0-3. They are 16-16 since then. And that is a remarkable turnaround when you consider that this team at one point in time had 3 wins in 21 games.
Well, you know, you can measure by wins, and that is the bottom line. But from Jim Riggleman's standpoint, he realized that there had to be other things that had to get done, and he's concentrated on fundamentals. He's had these guys out here early doing some fundamental work that they weren't doing, you know, at this time last year. And that was just one way to kind of get his team back focused. Not that they were bad on their fundamentals, but he's trying to get some kind of a team feeling going. And you get out there early and you do some work, and the guys responded very well to it. And I think he likes the way the attitude is, where they never really feel like they're out of a ball game. And there's a little jump in their step now that they did not have back in April.
After the visit to the mound by Steve Foster, the one-time Reds reliever, now the pitching coach for the Rockies. Marquez turns his attention to left-handed batting Scott Schebler with 1 in, 2 on and 2 out. Schebler 1 of 5 so far in this first 2 games of this series. Slow breaking ball hooked to the right side, and that's where McMahon will throw out Schebler. But the Reds get a run on doubles by Votto and Jeanette. Matt Harvey, his 4th start as a Red, coming off his first win as a Red when we return. Day for Scooter Jeanette. Let's take a look at the Colorado starting lineup under manager Bud Black. Blackman, Dahl, Arenado to start it. Story, Gonzalez, Desmond in the middle. McMahon, Walters, Marquez. The latter third. Matt Harvey, his fourth start is a Cincinnati Red. Coming off an outstanding effort. 6 innings of 3-hit, 1-run baseball and a win over the Pirates. His pitch count has increased dramatically in each of the 3 starts. And he delivers ball 1 to Blackman.
In fact, there is no pitch count really anymore. It's all going to be determined by, the state of the game, the way the hitters are sizing him up, or the way he's mowing them down.
He's gone 55, 77, then 93 the last time out. In the air and playable for Suarez and foul ground. It's interesting. When Harvey came up back in 2012, his first 3 starts against the Rockies were all at Citi Field in New York. Of course, he missed a year with a Tommy John surgery. He did not start a single game in this ballpark until the 2016 season. Allowed 11 hits in 5 2/3 innings. Gave up 5 earned runs. And the Mets were a little bit reluctant to start him here. This ball is crushed into right field, and it's a 1-1 game. Home run by Dahl.
In the first inning of just about every game that we've seen Harvey pitch this year, he's fairly predictable. He likes to go heavy fastball, and Dahl obviously looking something out over the plate, got under that one big time. So as soon as he gives up a home run ball, he ends up going with the slider on the very next pitch.
Third home run for Dahl. It comes in the first pitch of his at bat. And it's 2-0 on Arenado. A great star, third baseman, .320 batter, 9 home runs, 27 knocked in. Arenado 2 of 5 in the series, has a double and a home run. Brought up last night when he reached base, 33 of the last 34 going back to the middle of April. And make it 34, 35. Another guy having a big month in May, up over 330 for Nolan Arenado. Look at the Reds on defense. Winker, Hamilton, Schebler left, center, and right. That's become a pretty steady group along the infield and behind the plate virtually each and every day, although Tucker got a day off yesterday. His replacement did a nice job, though. Tony Cruz had his best game as a Red. A couple of extra base hits, including a 2-run home run. Out homer single to start the Colorado first, and here's Trevor Story, the shortstop. Playing in his 104th consecutive game. That's the 4th longest current streak in Major League Baseball. Raza battling that one. I mean, it is breezy down there on that field. You look at the flags up above the rock pile and straight away center field, and there's some wind here today. We've not had much the first 2 days of the series. Those are sweet gifts for people. If you're ever thinking about an idea for a hardcore baseball fan, I don't know if they sell those in Denver, But a buddy of mine bought me one from Wrigley Field. You know those flags they have with the standings up above the scoreboard in center field? I mean, things all beat up from the wind in Chicago, but that's wasn't very expensive at all, and maybe file that one away for somebody in your family or a friend.
Good idea. You can never buy the wrong size.
When you get to be our age and the size seems to constantly be changing. Carlos Gonzalez at 214, 4 home runs, 16 batted in. One of the great players in the history of this franchise, which this year turns 25 years young. They started in 1993. They were playing at Old Mile High Stadium, home of both the Rockies and, of course, a long-time home of the Denver Broncos. See where he ranks all time and a number of categories for the Rockies.
Well, Gonzalez is now 32 years old. He did make the All-Star team a couple of years ago, and he had a very good year where he hit 298, drove in 125 bombs. But still, he's kind of a poster child of what happens to players when they battle injury and then they get over the 30 or 31-year-old mark and they begin to really go downhill. Struggling to try to stay in the lineup here.
That's a loud noise there. Upper deck, 2-run home run by Gonzalez.
That's the Carlos Gonzalez of old right there. Gonzalez is one of those old-fashioned left-handers that has that wheelhouse down and in, and boy, oh boy, look at, the swing started in his feet. And he knew that the second that ball came off the bat.
That is the 1,300th hit in the career of Carlos Gonzalez. That may have been one of the longest he's ever hit. That ball was killed.
I mean, you don't see too many up in that triple tank up there.
461 feet, they estimate that travel. Strike 3 called on Ian Desmond, and the inning is over. Reds get 1 in the first. Colorado gets 3 on a couple of home runs in the bottom of the inning. games, a lot of games in this ballpark. And look, there have been a lot of games in this ballpark that start with 4 combined runs in the first inning. Trying to let his team know that, hey, could be one of those days. Let's swing the bat straight up in the air off the bat of Peraza to begin the Reds' second inning, and that's out number 1 with Matt Harvey coming up, then Billy Hamilton. Harvey 2 hits and 13 at bats so far this year. Quickly 0-2. Marquez just turned. He's a native Venezuelan. He just turned 23 after spring training had already began. So he is very young, and he strikes out Harvey on 3 pitches. That's Marquez's first strikeout of the game. If you weren't with us last night on the triple that Billy Hamilton drove to left center field in the 3-run 7th inning, and this triple tied the game. The fastest time he's ever recorded from home to third, 10.39 seconds. And that is the fastest in the StatCast era in all of Major League Baseball. That came all the way back in 2015. You know, the difference between that 3-base hit compared to maybe some others is that Hamilton ran through the bag. He was thinking inside the park home run. A lot of times a guy goes into a slide, you know, maybe there's going to be a play at third base, and that fractionally can take off time of how hard you're going to get there or how fast you're going to get there. But Hamilton was in full speed mode when he hit that third base bag. Had to slam on the brakes so quickly you saw him fall down.
That's a good point. Makes you wonder why batters ever want to slide into first base if it costs them time on getting down the line. Marquez thought he had strike 3. Yeah, for a young guy like Marquez, 23 years old, last year at 22, he won 11 games, and he basically, you know, set the standard for this pitching staff. I can't call him the ace of the staff, but I mean, they expect him to fill those shoes very shortly. And he keeps it very simple too. Fastball, breaking ball. 1 out of every 10 or 11 pitches, he'll mix in a changeup.
Hamilton bunts on a 2-strike pitch, and he's out to end the inning. Go to the bottom of the second, 3-1 Colorado. MLB.tv. Blackout and other restrictions will apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Reds an RBI double by Jeanette in the top of the first inning. The Rockies club a pair of long home runs off Matt Harvey in the bottom of the first. One by Dahl and an upper deck two-run blast by Carlos Gonzalez. Ryan McMahon began the year in Colorado, was sent down on May the 1st. They brought him back yesterday, and he's starting his second straight game at second base. Rockies have been without their all-star second baseman, Gold Glove winning second baseman DJ LeMahieu, and will be for quite some time. Had an injury to two areas, his thumb and his wrist on a funny swing, and they're a bit perplexed as to how long exactly he will be out. And that's a big hit for this team. Good player. 3-1 on Ryan McMahon. Room short of the track for Winker, one out. Walters got the start in game one. He came into this series batting .130. But against Sal Romano here on Friday night, he had a single, drew a bases loaded walk, drew another walk, scored a run. Chris Iannetta started behind the plate last night. That comes flying out of his hands. That's the second time we've seen that in this series. After getting ahead 0-2, Harvey's missed on 3 in a row to run it full. Pitcher due up next. And that's the first walk issued today by Matt Harvey. He's had very good control since joining the Reds in 14 innings. That is just his third walk.
He thinks that pitch probably could have been called a strike, and it could have been, even though the reach right there by Barnett sometimes gives the umpire indication the ball was not, it was off the mark because it was off the target.
This guy's a pretty good hitter, Marquez. It looks like they're going to ask him to bunt. You never know, though. We saw Bud Blackcap Gray the other night run that Butcher Boy play. This guy has 5 hits and 16 at bats.
It's like Joey Votto's got a little web problem in his glove out there.
As well as Marquez has swung the bat. Talked about the 5 for 16. You see he does not have a single sacrifice bunt so far this year. Strike two.
He actually looks more comfortable standing up there ready to swing the bat than he does trying to lay the bunt down. A little jab action with the bat head. I would imagine right here he may square the bunt and then pull that back and try the butcher boy if they like the way he swings it.
Yep. And he comes up empty on a pitch out of the strike zone. 2 strikeouts in the game for Harvey, and we'll roll back to the top of the order with Charlie Blackmon.
Get 5,500 purchase allowance on most Buick Envision models.
Runner at first, 2 away. Blackmon fouled out to Suarez in the Colorado first, and here we are in the 2nd inning with the Rockies holding a 2-run lead. Harvey, of course, began the year with the Mets, went 0-2 in 4 start and 4 relief appearances. On the ground, and by a diving Jeanette. On to third goes Walters. So 2-out noise after a 1-out walk and now a 2-out single. And Dahl, who homered his first time up, is coming to the plate.
Scooter Jeanette nearly gets to this ball. This infield plays fairly quick. It looks nice and green and thick, but they cut it fairly short. Balls with overspin really get through there very quickly.
Dahl at his 3rd home run of this season an inning ago. Strike 1. Talked about the Reds in a series, 5 of 16 with runners in scoring position. Colorado 4 of 17. And here's the 0-1 with runners on the corners, and that one just sailed out of the fingers of Harvey. This was a first pitch fastball.
And look where it was, up around the letters right there. Not too many left-handers get to that pitch. Dahl hit that a long, long way. The little girl decided to recycle it.
It looked like, I don't know if that was her dad or whoever it was saying, no, don't do that. I mean, that's a home team home run. Those are the funny ones. Batter staying in the box after a lengthy look in by Harvey to Barnhart. Pulled to the right side, Scooter's there, and a scoreless 2nd inning for Colorado. The Rockies strand 2. Reds will bat in the 3rd, top of the order coming up, down 3-1.
that here at Coors Field in Denver. I'm Jim Day. Jesse Winker in the leadoff spot today, which has been a fluid situation for the Reds. Billy Hamilton still struggling to hit for average, and with the current outfield rotation, which for the foreseeable future is going to continue, Jesse Winker not playing every day. Jose Peraza cooling off. Jim Riggleman before the game today was talking about it, saying it's probably going to be a mix and match situation until someone steps up and takes it.
Well, we talked about last night, thank you, Jim, that Brandon Dixon was inserted into the lineup. His first career start in right field. And we mentioned that in 64 at-bats going into the game last night, Winker and Schebler against left-handed pitching, that duo has not knocked in a single run against a left-handed pitcher. Not one. That's why we saw Dixon last night. And, you know, you wonder if Peraza continues to struggle, and right now he's really struggling. The one guy who's not struggling on this team when he gets a chance to play is Blandino. Those are decisions managers have to make for every team all over Major League Baseball.
Well, a lot of times those managers, though, if they're on a ball club that is not projected to be in contention, they make those decisions sometime from the organization standpoint to develop a player. Maybe you want to sit a veteran and play a younger player instead, just to try to see if he can play or not. I think Jim Riggleman is trying to win ball games, and he's going to mix and match based on what he thinks will give him the best night out there at any one game.
Blandino has only started 2 games at shortstop. The bat goes flying further than the ball. The bat ends up on the grass in short right field next to the second baseman, and the ball trickles down to Desmond, the first baseman. 2 away.
Well, you see, even bat heads go farther here at Coors Field.
They have a humidor for bat heads?
That's a good question. No, they have a fireplace for that one, though.
Yeah, you get some use out of that in the wintertime in these parts.
That's right. Throw it in the stack.
Votto smokes one into center field. He had a double his first time up, now a single. And remember, his 2-out double set the table for Scooter Gennett, who knocked him in with a double of his own down the left field line.
His 2-out double there in the first inning came on a 3-0 pitch. And Joey Votto now on 3-0 pitches in his career is batting a cool .558. 19 for 34 with 5 home runs.
Scooter a base hit in 6 consecutive at-bats. All right, GS bringing the energy, and that is the MO on Scooter. Go back to 63. No surprise that Pete Rose would have the most career 5-hit games. Gennett's only been here a year and about a month and a half, nearly 2 months, and already has 2 of them. Six of those 8, of course, members of Cincinnati's Big Red Machine in the 1970s. Joe Morgan and Ken Griffey Sr. were the only 2 absent from that list. Breaking ball, the Gennett takes. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You got to be kidding. 7 consecutive hits for Scooter Gennett. Wow.
I mean, he has had every different type of hit you can imagine. This one down on one knee. Goes down to get the breaking ball and just cuts it right over the head of the second baseman. Boy, this is fun to watch.
Well, now Suarez with a chance to do some damage. The Reds trail by 2 here in the third, but they get 2 out hits for a second time today from Votto and Jeanette. Suarez was walked his first time up. Good breaking ball there to even account it 1 ball and 1 strike. Good fastball there, knee high, 96 miles per hour on the outside corner to get ahead. Excellent numbers for Suarez in these spots.
Marquez's swing and miss pitch in this situation is normally a slider.
And that was it, a swing and a miss pitch. Catcher finds the ball and takes care of Suarez. Third strikeout for Marquez. Reds strand 2 and trail by 2. Fan Club. Each membership features exclusive Reds rookie swag, a bucket cap, photo frame, bib, and lots more. You get tickets and opportunities to walk in a parade on the field. Lots going on. Memberships, $20. Visit reds.com/fan clubs. They're dialed in. Looking good in Cincinnati red today. Arenado takes a pitch inside. Didn't look to be that far inside, but maybe he saw it that way.
He may have been looking on the other part of the plate, too.
He had a single in the right field his first time up and scored on the 2-run home run by Carlos Gonzalez. Low breaking ball. Got off out of play to the first base side. Reds will jump on the big plane after a lengthy ride to the airport here in Denver. It's a long ways out of town, but not a bad trip. Short flight down to Phoenix, Arizona. They'll play a Memorial Day game during the afternoon tomorrow. There's a two-hopper down to Suarez, and one third baseman will throw out the other. Homer Bailey gets a ball tomorrow night against the slumping D-backs. Be a night game on Tuesday, and then another day game, getaway day, Thursday, and the next Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Petco Park in San Diego, and that's where Matt Harvey will make his next start, the middle game of that series. Bailey will go into that start tomorrow night, a 1-6 record with an ERA of up over 6. Of course, there were a number of those starts, especially early in the year, where Bailey pitched more than well enough to win games. That has not been the story here of late. His last 3 starts, he's gone 5 innings or fewer and has allowed exactly 10 hits, a total of 30 base hits in his last 3 starts combined. One to Trevor Story is at the bell to strike. Story popped up to Peraza's first time up. Weak roller down to third, and again Suarez charging, and the throw is high, but they still get the out at first base.
Mike Redmond is on the phone to the video man there underneath the stadium to see if the Rockies want to take a replay look at this one. The question would be whether Votto had his foot on the bag or not.
They decided against it.
Yeah.
Votto keeping that right toe on the bag. Boy, that's close. The home run by Gonzalez in the first inning. Mentioned over 460 feet. That's the longest of the year for Gonzalez, the second longest at Coors Field this season. Trevor Story hit one against San Diego that traveled 3 feet further. And Gonzalez a perfect 2 for 2 today. Home run and a 2-out single. Well, this was a blast, his first time up.
Well, he got a fastball down and in, and I mean, he just dropped ahead and waylaid on that bad boy, 461 feet. Anytime you get exit velocity over 110, you are up there in the elite. So, Harvey decided to throw him a slider in this at bat, and he got a base hit into right field.
And the inning will continue for Ian Desmond. He looked at strike 3 his first time up. Back over the mound. Jeanette is there for the force play to retire the side. 1 hit, 1 left. We've played 3 in the rubber game of this 3-game series. In Colorado, a 3-1 advantage. Get highlights, player reactions, and game insights. Follow Fox Sports OH on Instagram. Right up last night, that area out there, how it's grown up and blossomed. The pine trees, the fir trees out there, just beautiful. Straightaway center field, and it serves as the batter's eye in this ballpark. They had a wall up there before all the... I don't think that would be technically ivy out there. What would that be growing out there against the wall?
You're asking me?
Well, in this state, you never know.
Never good point. It's always crowded in a rock pile.
Reds down 2. Scott Schebler leading things off in a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Schebler got a little anxious on a slow breaking ball spun up there by Marquez in the first inning. With 2 on, and Schebler way out in front. Hooked it to the right side for a ground out. And he chases this one in the dirt. And that is 4 strikeouts in the game now for the Colorado 23-year-old right-hander German Marquez.
Yeah, you really look at these 2 pitchers today, and they're very similar. Marquez has a little bit of a slower breaking ball, and it's got really a lot of tilt, goes straight down. But basically, they're both strong arm right-handers. They keep it fairly simple, throw a lot of fastballs, and have good command. Marquez, of course, only 23 years old.
Peraza popped up to his counterpart his first time up. Brewers and the Mets are in the 7th inning. Milwaukee white hot. Trailing, though, the Mets today 5-4. St. Louis has rallied in the 8th inning against the Pirates. Pirates led that game 4-3, and now St. Louis a 6-4 lead in the 8th. Cubbies and the Giants will wrap up their weekend series at Wrigley Field later today. Going into play today in the Central, the Brewers, we mentioned it last night, they have the largest lead of any division leader of any division in baseball. 4 better than the Cardinals and the Pirates, 4.5 over Chicago. And that record is, by a long stretch, the best record in the National League. Winning percentage of .623 for Craig Counsell's Milwaukee Brewers. Marquez was hoping that would be strike 3. Instead, ball 2. Push to the right side off the bat of Peraza. And with 2 away, it'll be Matt Harvey. Struck out on 3 pitches his first at bat. 2 of 14 as a batter this year with the Mets and the Reds as Harvey.
Talk about the Brewers, Tom. One reason why they have been really out in front of everybody else in the division is their record on 1-run games. We talked about the record that the Rockies had on 1-run games. I think coming into yesterday's game, there's something like 11-4 or
9-4.
9-4. The Rockies, I mean the Brewers are 13-5 in 1-run games. So everything is rolling Craig Counsell's way right now.
Well, they've had a dynamite bullpen, which has kept them, tight in a lot of games. That's a fair ball. And that's all for the Reds. They are retired in order for the second time in 4 innings. 3-1, Colorado in front.
Out. A dramatic out at home plate for out number 1, and then double play line out to Scooter, Jeanette, and Peraza. Jared Hughes celebrating big time and interviewed him after the game, and this guy's about as real as it gets. He is so pumped up on the mound that he had to take a second to get some wind before he did the interview. And you want to talk about being liked on this team. This is Michael Lorenzen's tweet after the game. At least we hope. There it is. Love this guy. Look at the look on Jared Hughes' face. You want to talk about as real as it gets. That would be Jared Hughes. In a very short amount of time, he is universally loved in the Reds clubhouse.
Well, Jim, I think that everybody loved him on the first day down in spring training. Didn't he come to you when you got down there earlier than anybody of the Cincinnati media? And came right up to you and offered, you know, what time, when, anytime you need me.
Normally, I have to go up to a player and introduce myself and say, hey, you're going to get sick of my ugly mug. I'm going to be here every day bugging you. He came up to the media and said, hey, I'm Jared Hughes. Nice to meet you. If there's anything you need from me, just let me know.
He was still in a state of shock last night after Jim Day did that post-game interview with him on the field. Look at him. Wow. Fired up. We'll see if Jim Day makes his way down to the dugout and maybe can interview a player after the game. That would mean the Reds win. Matt Harvey facing the latter third in McMahon, Walters, and Marquez. Colorado scored all 3 of its runs in the first inning via the long ball. Solo shot by Dahl, 2-run home run by Carlos Gonzalez. This one is driven down the left field line into the corner. This will be a 2-base hit for McMahon.
Well, you mentioned the up and down that Ryan McMahon has had so far this year with the Rockies and their roster. Pat Valaika gave him a lot offensively last year when he was called on. This year with DJ LeMahieu out, and he's an all-around really great player, LeMahieu is. Gold Glove defender. So those are big shoes to fill, but that's a pretty good swing right there. And anytime you have an infielder who bats left-handed and can carry the bat a little bit, I think that's an advantage.
Number 8 hole hitter is Walters. Breaking ball in there, strike 1 for Matt Harvey. 3 runs, now 6 hits for the Rockies. 1 run, 4 hits for the Reds. This will advance a runner over to third base. Now, granted, you have the pitcher coming up, but as we brought up earlier, this isn't your typical hitting pitcher, at least so far this year for Marquez. 5 hits in his first 16 at bats. Chris touched upon it earlier. His first time up today, they asked him to try and put down a sacrifice, which he has not done successfully this year, and he did not look comfortable doing it. Once he got to a 2-strike pitch, they let him show bunt and then take a little half swing, and he came up empty for a strikeout, and Harvey could use another one of those right now. Reds infield in.
Question is, would Bud Black maybe drop down a suicide squeeze right here? Kind of doubtful, not with one of their better hitters, Blackman, in the on-deck circle.
Runner's going to stay put. 2 are out in the inning. So naturally, with 2 away, the infield backs up for Blackman, who is 1 of 2 in the game. Is fouled out to third and singled into center field. Well, it's a great walk-up tune for Blackman, because the crowd sings that last word tonight every time.
Yeah, and he has to wait, though, outside the batter's box for that to finally come
Yes.
around. I didn't think that fell under your approval for speed-up rules.
Well, it doesn't. But Blackman was one of the most vocal critics of anything. He and Arenado, both for that matter, were right out in the forefront saying that baseball doesn't need to change a thing. So he's going to wait until the crowd gets to tonight. Every time. Threw a fastball right by him there.
Blackman was really a pioneer of such, with the long beard and the long hair. One of the first guys that looked like he was ready to take off Sunday and go to a reenactment battle. And I talked to him about that yesterday, about he kind of pioneered the look. He said, no, I didn't. Jason Worth was the first guy to do that.
Good block there by Tucker, preventing the runner from coming down the line for what would be a fourth Colorado run.
That's a tough one there because it's a breaking ball, and it looks like the ball is going to break one way, but when it hits the dirt, it actually spins opposite direction.
Two outs, runner at third. 2-run Colorado lead here in the last of the fourth, and the 2-2 to Charlie Blackman. Nowhere near the strike zone. Harvey now going to really gather his thoughts here. Seems a little bit frustrated with his command, especially with that fastball so far today. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Blackman. And here it comes. Strike 3 called.
Ooh, backdoor slider.
Third strikeout for Harvey. 1 hit, 1 left. 3-1, Rockies in front.
Runs. He passed Hideki Matsui for the most by an Asian-born player. Clayton Kershaw will return from the DL and make the start Thursday versus the Phillies. And in Major League Baseball, how about 24 no-nos through 6 innings pitched this season? 24 total last year.
Well, nice to have Jim Day part of the telecast here today, and top half of the 5th. Jim, thank you for all that and so much more. Billy Hamilton to lead things off.
You're welcome, Tom.
Always a pleasure.
Full service operation here.
Well, not entirely true. Used to be. And there's strike to Billy Hamilton.
What changed?
Well, apparently he has some very sensitive Twitter followers. So we got to make sure we don't anger any of them.
You just did.
You just did, yeah.
Good.
Got to have thick skin on there.
Good.
Got to have thick skin.
They do.
No, they don't. If you're on
I'm
it.
saying they don't have it.
Yeah,
that's the problem. There's ball 4 to Billy Hamilton, and that's not a good thing to do if you are Marquez.
Well, you're not kidding about that. I mean, the way that he had Hamilton last time, so frustrated that Billy tried to lay down a bunt on a 2-strike count, ended up having that bunt go foul for a strikeout. Marquez really pretty much today, like Matt Harvey, the Red Star, they have not been great at getting that first pitch in there, just about 50% of the time.
Billy 9 of 11 in stolen base attempts. They have been few and far between of late. Of course, you have to get on first to be able to steal bases.
Marquez has given up this year 5 stolen bases. They've not thrown a runner out yet. Last year, though, it was almost 50-50. He gave up 6, but they had thrown out 5.
Billy, since making his major league debut in September the 3rd of 2013, leads all major league players in stolen bases with 252 of them. He's now 6th on the Reds' all-time stolen base list, going all the way back to the 1800s. Eric Davis is next on that list at 270.
Of course, the other part of that is what can the catcher do? And behind the plate today, Tony Walters, a converted infielder, very good arm. He's thrown out 33%. That's a good rate for a catcher.
Taylor made double play here off the bat of Lincoln. And let's take a minute and see what's happening around baseball. How about the Indians and the Astros, Brian Giesenslaw? Yeah, that was Walt Dropo, I guess is a correct pronunciation. That's where the Detroit Tigers got to go all the way back to 1952. Barnhart, a fly ball to left, and the Reds are finished after a leadoff walk to Hamilton in the 5th. Still 3-1, Rockies in front. teams changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. World famous Red Rocks Amphitheater, just outside of Denver. Some of you may be old enough to know that, remember that video that U2 made 100 years ago out of that place? I think that was the first time that most of America had ever seen that. You ever been up there for a show, Chris Welsh?
I've not been up for a show. I went up and just narrowly missed a yoga outing that they had last year when we were up here. And they must have had 300 people up there.
First pitch swinging is Gall the other way, and Winker in front of the wall. One pitch and one out. Dahl homered on the first pitch he saw from Matt Harvey today back in the first inning.
That's one of those balls that you're standing on the mound giving it up for Matt Harvey and you're just holding your breath because you're really not sure in this ballpark how far that ball is going to fly. I mean, we've seen so many balls that just seem like your ordinary medium depth fly balls that just fly right out of here.
Arenado, a single in the first inning, scored on the Carlos Gonzalez home run. All the runs in this game were scored in the opening inning. Votto and Jeanette with consecutive two-out doubles for the Reds. Solo home run by Dahl, two-run home run by Gonzalez in the Colorado first. Harvey delivers, steal right one. One ball and two strikes on a Colorado third baseman. That's a beautiful fastball at 95 miles per hour. Forced strikeout for Matt Harvey.
Well, Harvey's just getting better as he gets deeper into this ball game. The 3 runs in the first inning, and ever since then, really, the Rockies have not sniffed it at all. They had a couple of runners on in the second, but he's beginning to spot up his fastball a lot better now.
So now big deep breath from the Reds right-hander as he faces Story. Harvey has not had a 1-2-3 inning today. Strike one. Back-to-back fastball. Story takes right down the middle. Conceivable by days in if the Reds can get a win and the Diamondbacks win their game. They're scoreless early in Oakland, that the Reds would begin this road trip playing the National League Western Division leader in back-to-back series. There's a base hit into right field. Only a half game separates the Rockies and the D-backs going into play today. Reds will be missing in that series Zach Greinke. They will see the guy who's been the Arizona ace in the series finale in left-hander Patrick Corbin. What's gotten into Carlos Gonzalez here today? This has been a flashback Sunday for the Colorado right fielder. A perfect 3 for 3. So over the course of, 2 pitches, Harvey goes from the prospect of a 1-2-3 inning to now having to pitch out of a 2-on, 2-out jam facing Desmond, who's 0 for 2s today.
Well, Desmond, it seems like the deeper we get into this series, the more in a hurry he is to get his at-bat over. He's finally hearing some boo birds here at home at Coors Field. Really underperforming the contract that he signed, coming in here as a free agent. You don't want to be here when he finally breaks out of it.
Slider away, and Harvey falls behind. 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, with Desmond's strides, it really determines how you're going to pitch him. You want to show him inside off the plate and then get him out with stuff down on the outer part of the plate, down around the knees. That front leg of his, this one right down here, just really never does get back to completely square. He's just a little bit towards the shortstop, and it leaves him susceptible to the outer part of the plate.
McMahon waits on deck. He doubled his last time up. Harvey's fallen behind. He and Desmond 3 balls and no strikes. A 4-pitch walk to a 170 hit. And that will load the bases. Two walks issued by Harvey today have come to Desmond, batting, as we mentioned, 170, and Walters, who bats 140.
Reds are cranking it up in the bullpen out there. Looks like Wandy Peralta.
And now, after a visit to the mound by Tucker Barnhart, Tucker and Harvey will be joined by the pitching coach, Danny Darwin.
A lot of people misunderstand how many physical setbacks Matt Harvey has had along the way. You know, he was a tremendous prospect, being drafted in the first round by the Mets, was going to save that rotation and be in New York for a long, long time. Ended up having Tommy John surgery at the end of 2013, and that blew out really the entire 2014 season. And a couple of years later, he was diagnosed with thoracic outlet syndrome, which has become more and more common among baseball players. It's basically like a blood clot up at the very top of your rib cage.
You had a long chat with him about that the other day.
He was telling me how complicated the diagnosis was. The ensuing surgery had him in the hospital for 10 days. And then the drain they put in next to the incision actually irritated the nerve on his scapula so much that all the muscles in his shoulder began to atrophy.
Down the left field line, and this ball is out of play.
So while Harvey was rehabbing, and he said he went after it as hard as he absolutely could, he wasn't building any muscle in the back of his shoulder, despite all the exercises that were prescribed by all the physical therapists. And eventually he had a stress fracture in his scapula, basically from working out. So he had to stop that, and they fixed that nerve problem, and it takes a long time. I mean, there was a time when Harvey picked up a baseball and he couldn't feel it in his hand. The tingling got so bad. Actually, that syndrome, thoracic outlet, is really more common than you think. I mean, besides Matt Harvey, Mike Fulton-Avens of the Braves, Phil Hughes, Josh Beckett, Jaime Garcia, Chris Carpenter, Chris Young, Clayton Richard, And several more have all had that problem.
He's going to get out of the inning. So they load the bases after the first two were retired. And Strand 3. Still a 2-run Colorado lead.
His MLB debut against the Pirates, hit second that day, played center field. Bruce went 3 for 3, a double, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. The Reds won the game 9-6. The babyface, Jay Bruce.
Joey Votto to lead things off here in the Cincinnati 6th inning. Joey a perfect 2 for 2. The Reds have 4 hits, and the 4 hits belong to the first 2 batters in this lineup, in this inning. Votto, a double and a single. Jeanette, a double and a single. Need some other guys to start pulling on their end of the rope here today if the Reds are going to rally from this 2-run deficit. Votto fights off that fastball at 94 and dumps it foul out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, another real good crowd on hand today. This weather, boy, what a blessing it has been over this Memorial Day weekend. Just perfect every day here in Denver. It's really the first really nice weekend they've had here in Denver so far during this baseball season. Naturally very, very cold, unpredictable, and end of March through April. Then they've been gone so much. They played 32 road games. And when this series began, they had only played 18 home games. Fly ball down the left field line, and for the first time today, Votto retired.
Yeah, real oddball statistic about that. And the Rockies being on the road, they had more road wins than they had home games played. So they'll be due to play a lot of home games when it heats up here, and that's when the ball really begins to fly here in Denver.
Arismendi Alcantara, the last Red to have a hit in 7 straight at-bats. Well, we've forgotten all about Arismendi. That was just last year. Scooter not sure about that one, looking at all the way into Walter's mitt, and it's 0-2. He was behind 0-2 his last at-bat. Dropped down on one knee to chip one just beyond the reach of his second baseman McMahon into right field. This time, not so fortunate. So it's the first time since his final at-bat Friday night that a Colorado pitcher is retired. Scooter Gennett, who has a hit in 7 straight, come to an end.
Took a bad hop or else he would have hit it.
Golly day, Milwaukee is just unbelievable what they are doing right now. They've been behind 3 times in that game, and they have just scored 4 runs to take an 8-6 lead in the 8th inning. Man, they got it going on. And you can rest assured that they were jam-packed inside of Miller Park over the weekend. One ball and 1 strike on Suarez, and a fastball runs inside. Suarez has walked and struck out. Straight up into the air and right through the heart of the order for young Mr. Marquez, retiring Votto, Gennett, and Suarez. Rockies will bat in the 6th, leading 3-1.
Hashtag hats off for heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Welcome back to the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. Still some snow atop the Colorado Rocky Mountains just to the west of downtown Denver. First pitch swinging is Walters. Boy, this guy is wearing the Reds out. And just talking about getting on base, we mentioned that Walters coming into this series was a 130 batter. He was on 3 times in the first game, didn't start last night, and now on 2 times today. Put it perfectly that time by Marquez, and he'll advance the runner. It's going to be all for Matt Harvey. He goes 5 1/3 innings today. And so far, with the runner at second base, his responsibility, 3 runs, all of them came in the first inning. So be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Wandy Peralta comes on. For as low as $12. Big post-game fireworks show set to a superhero-themed soundtrack performed live by the Cincinnati Pops, thanks to Delta Airlines. Visit Reds.com for tickets. Runner at second, 1 out. Colorado bats here in the bottom of the 6th. Matt Harvey gives up 9 hits, 3 runs so far. And now one to replace him to face Charlie Blackmon is Wandy Peralta.
Back-to-back lefties here made it the decision very easy for Riggleman to go to the bullpen and bring in Peralta. Got to throw the ball over the plate. He now has more base on balls than he does strikeouts.
Reds pitchers have made the big pitch when they've needed to in this series. Colorado just 4 for 22 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 5 today. Wandy, a couple of big outs here against left-handed batters Blackmon and Dahl. It's all about the word trust. I mean, Jim Riggleman's got to be able to trust this guy, Peralta, to come in and throw the ball over the plate. He was too good last year. And you saw that batting average against Peralta. It's in the 220s. This guy's a good pitcher. Nothing at 2 on Blackmon.
Yeah, sometimes, though, when you get put into the 9th inning, you know, with Iglesias gone, Jim Riggleman's looking for a combination of pitchers to come in there and get that save, nail down the win. And for some pitchers that have spent a lot of time in the bullpen and never had to pitch that ninth inning, getting in that ninth inning is a whole different energy level. You just approach it a little differently, unfortunately, and sometimes it goes outside a pitcher's comfort zone.
Well, when you even look at that ninth inning last night, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that in a perfect world, oh boy, just shoots it the other way on the ground. That is just beautiful hitting by Charlie Blackmon. And it's a 4-1 Colorado lead.
I don't think you could throw it in a better spot if you're Wandy Peralta. Is either a slider or a changeup, down and away. And Blackmon just gets out there and punches it in the hole.
So the run is charged to Matt Harvey. His final line, 5 1/3, 9 hits, 4 runs earned, walk 2, fan 3. And here's Dahl. A home run to right field in the first inning has since grounded out to Jeanette and flied out up against the wall to Jesse Winker. Rockies have out hit the Reds today 10-4. We started to talk about, though, the ninth inning last night. I mean, when you look at that game, you had a left-handed batter leading off the ninth in McMahon. You had Ionetta, a right-handed hitter. They brought in their best left-handed hitter off the bench in Carlos Gonzalez because the Reds had the right-hander Jared Hughes in the game. The next 2 batters were also left-handed batters in Blackmon and Dahl. So, you know, if Jim Riggleman is indeed searching for that combination, last night would have been a game if he could trust Peralta to throw strikes. That should have been his ninth inning.
Yes.
Well, he's throwing strikes today.
Well, that's some kind of nasty two-seam fastball right there. You may have seen him kind of bouncing his hand up and down after his last pitch, saying, all right, I got to stay on top of this two-seamer. And that's the one he threw to Dahl, who swung right over the top of it.
Well, Jim Riggleman going to come get Peralta, who faces 2 left-handed batters, allows a hit to drive in a run, gets a strikeout of Dahl. He has Tanner Rainey, who was so impressive here on Friday night, coming on from the bullpen to face Nolan Arenado. Back in a moment. On Friday night, a couple of runners on base and got 2 outs on a double play ball. That's all we've seen him in this series.
You know, sometimes a guy gets promoted up out of AAA when there's a major league injury, and that was the case for Rainey. And oftentimes that guy that gets called up really is not all that deserving. You cannot say that about Rainey. He simply dominated down in Louisville so far this year. 14 games, 17 innings, 31 strikeouts, and gave up only 6 hits over that time. Basically unhittable down there. And he's got a nice power fastball and power slider combination. I mean, you can project Rainey, you know, to be a solid middle to late inning reliever.
2-run home run by Arenado on the first pitch.
Arenado uses the entire field when he comes here. I mean, he stays with it between the 2 gaps and right back through the middle. You know, a lot of hitting coaches will tell you that they don't buy into the elevating the baseball, but what they want their hitters to do is to be following through on the upswing. Hit the ball out in front of the plate, and as you follow through, that ball is going to go up. Wayne Espy's the hitting coach here and was explaining that to me yesterday, and Arenado followed his philosophy to a just perfection.
Second home run in this series for Arenado. He has 10 now on the year, and a 3-1 game has become 6-1. A 3-run Rockies 6th inning off Harvey, Peralta, and Rainey. 1 run charged in this inning to Harvey, 1 to Wandy, and now 1 to Rainey. Peraza will throw out Story to retire the side. 6-1 Colorado. We go to the 7th. And Jeanette for a 1-0 lead, a short-lived lead in the Colorado bottom of the first inning. Second batter, David Dahl, a home run to tie it. After a single by Arenado with 2 outs, it was Carlos Gonzalez, a long home run to make it 3-1. Rockies stayed that way until the 6th. They get a single by Blackman, a 2-run home run by Arenado off Tanner Rainey. And it's 6-1 Rockies as the Reds have Scott Schebler leading off against German Marquez, who has pitched a really good game here today.
Well, that's on top of really the best game that he's probably pitched all year long was his last time out. 2-1 win against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. He went 7 innings in that game for the first time all year long in 10 starts.
Struck out 5, he's walked 2. At the same pitch he got Schebler out on in the first inning. Slow breaking ball out there, and Schebler way out in front.
Hey, the line that we just showed you from Marquez is almost identical to what he had last game. He's only given up a couple of hits in that game. Walked 2 and struck out 5.
Here's Peraza in their strike. Peraza's 0 for 2 has popped up to short and grounded to second base. Two balls, 2 strikes on Peraza. And a 2-out single by Jose.
Stayed patient, did Peraza, laid off the tease me breaking ball, and finally Marquez threw on, kind of just fired it in there to try to get a strike.
This will be pitch number 100 of the game for Marquez, and he'll be facing the pinch hitter, Alex Blandino. 22 hits and 80 at-bats for Blandino, including a home run and 5 batted in. Rockies have some action out in their bullpen. Well, you got to believe they're going to give Marquez. There's a big, strong guy now. It's Mike Dunn, the left-hander, cranking it up in a hurry. And I would imagine that is if you get all the way to Winker here in this inning. Marquez is listed at 220 pounds, and he's every bit of that.
He's got a nice, easy delivery. What they've tried to do, it seems like, looking at his pitch count totals, they've tried to get him out of the game right around 100 pitches. Last time out, 7 innings, only 94 pitches. So he's got good command, and that's one reason why you can stay in there a little bit longer, although he's frustrated in this inning. He threw a pitch to a fastball to Peraza that he thought was strike 3. Peraza ended up getting a base hit off of him. He thought this slider right there was a strike. We show on Fox Tracks to be a little outside.
Well, who knows, in a 6-1 game, if Blandino should reach, maybe he brings in Dunn to turn around Billy Hamilton. So this could be it And that time he got the call on the breaking ball, and Blandino says you just called the last one a ball. 6 strikeouts now in the game for Marquez. Hamilton swings at the first pitch and just buried with that pitch, and that'll end the inning. So, German Marquez, 7 outstanding innings here today. Has allowed just 1 run on 5 base hits. Struck out 6 batters today, walked only 2, and he's getting high fives in that dugout. That would lead you to believe that his day more than likely over. Marquez trying to pick up his 4th win against 5 losses. So we're going to keep it right here during our 7th inning stretch on this Memorial Day weekend, as we remember those who served the greatest country in the world and lost their lives doing so. Our singing by Sergeant Chance Van Hole as we recognize Memorial Day weekend.
Sergeant Van Holly with a $250 gift certificate in appreciation of his service. Fans, please give a warm hero's welcome to Sergeant Chance Van Holly and all our nation's brave servicemen and women and their families. We thank you for your service and sacrifice. To nominate a military hero, visit Rockies.com/military hero. Fans, please rise as we honor our great country with the performance of God Bless America. Performing God Bless America today, representing the governor's own 101st Army Band of the Colorado National Guard, is Specialist Heidi Johnson. Please welcome Specialist Johnson and join her by singing along to God Bless America.
weekend series, a 6-1 lead. What a day it's been for Carlos Gonzalez. He has struggled this entire year, and yet today a perfect 3 out of 3, a 2-run home run, a couple of singles. Boy, they had a really nice weekend crowd here. 36,387 today. 112,424 over the weekend. Dylan Floro, the new Reds pitcher, and he serves up a single into left center. A 4-hit day for the man known in these parts as Cargo, Carlos Gonzalez. Really, really, really good numbers for Dylan Floro.
Well, he does it by throwing strikes, locating his fastball, and taking advantage of the movement that he has in that two-seamer. His ball just moves all over the place. Moving out today.
A 2-run home run by Ian Desmond. Ground ball by Ryan McMahon, and Floro will get an out.
Same people that have been booing Ian Desmond just decided to give him a big cheer with that one.
Hey, brother, it's all about what have you done for me lately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, he was 0 for 10 in the series. And they know that he's going to have to be a part of this ball club going forward.
So every Reds pitcher they brought in today, and his bullpen has been just lights out. But every now and again you're going to have these hiccups along the way, and that's kind of the way it's been today.
And you often have them right here at Coors Field.
Well put. Matt Harvey went the first 5 1/3, allowed 9 hits, 4 runs. Peralta charged with a run, got an out. Rainey charged with a run, got an out. And now Floro has allowed 3 base hits and a couple of runs. And the day is now officially over for Herman Marquez, who pitched a outstanding game today. He'll be taken down for the pinch hitter Daniel Castro. Marquez, 7 innings of 1-run baseball, gave up 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 6. Colorado scored 5 times in the last 2 at-bats. This was a 2-run game just a short while ago. The Brewers end up winning again, 8-7 over the New York Mets. That is a final. They sweep the weekend series over New York. He's come up with 4 runs in the 7th inning to win it. Shaw knocks in a run with a hit. Domingo Santana, a 2-run double, and Jonathan Villar a double. The base hit a moment ago by Walters, his second of the day. The 14th hit for Colorado on this Sunday afternoon. Their season high in a 9-inning game is 16. Castro out of there on strikes. Every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed Skip and Shannon, 9:30 to noon. That's on FS1. Jim Day talks a lot about that show.
He does.
Watches that show a great deal. But I'm sure tomorrow will be NBA heavy on that program. What with the Cavaliers playing Boston Game 7 tonight, and I believe Game 7 between the Warriors and the Rockets will be tomorrow night. How about that for the NBA? 2 Game 7s. Of course, the Cavaliers tonight apparently are going to be without Kevin Love. He is in concussion protocol, and that's too bad, because he's been the second best player on that team throughout this postseason run. Rockies get a 2-run home run by Ian Desmond and lead 6-1 at the end of 7. remember that Scooter Gennett 7 straight hits run that came to an end his last time up. Scooter and Jim Day spent a lot of time together here during this month of May. And all the base hits Scooter's been piling up. Really the same thing for Jim and Suarez. McMahon moves over to third. Castro to second. And the new pitcher is Mike Dunn.
32-year-old left-hander. Been around a long time. Started with the Yankees, went to Atlanta. Played 6 seasons with the Miami Marlins. Last couple of seasons here in Colorado.
He'll be facing lefty, switch hitter, lefty. And of course, the third batter in this inning will be Joey Votto. We brought it up the other day that in Votto's career, his toughest opponent on the mound is standing out there on the big bump right now. That would be Mike Dunn. Votto is 1 for 13 in his career against this left-hander. Eight runs, 14 hits for Colorado. Rockies have left 8 runners on base. Reds 1 run, 5 hits. They've stranded 5. Reds have only had 1 hit since the 3rd inning. That's how good Marquez was today after giving up a run in the 1st inning. He was mighty good. And Jesse Winker draws a leadoff walk here in the Cincinnati 8th. We invite you to take part in the 17th annual College Advantage Redlegs Run. That's Saturday, June 2nd, this coming Saturday. It's a great event. They have a 10K, 5K. You enjoy the family 1 mile family run or the Gappers Kids Run. That's basically a sprint. You get a race t-shirt, a Reds ticket voucher, big post-race party in the Kroger Fan Zone. It's a great day. Log on to Reds.com/run. Strike 1 to Tucker. 0 for 3 today, batting back in that number 2 slot.
Well, Dunn used to be one of the hardest left-handed relievers in baseball. Back in his days when he first came up with the New York Yankees, then Atlanta, then early days with Miami. Now he's got one of the better sliders around.
Sinking liner into right field. It falls in front of Gonzalez. And Winker is going to stop at second base.
I'll see if Joey Votto can break the scheme against his nemesis Mike Dunn. Yeah, there are a number of other pitchers that Votto has faced at least 10 plate appearances against, and they've done pretty well. Offers from Jeremy Hellickson, Aaron Noah, Pedro Strop, Noah Syndergaard. All of those guys right-handed. One for 13 here against Dunn.
Reds down 7 with the first 2 aboard here in the 8th inning. 1-1 on Joey. 2 hits and 3 at-bats, has scored a run.
Quite a chess match going on here. Votto steps in, Dunn steps off. Dunn steps off, Votto steps out. Votto gets into that little crouch of his, especially as you get deep into a count with 2 strikes, and he really begins to kind of bend down. He stays low when he starts his swing, and he has effectively really shortened the north and south parts of his strike zone. A little taller now. I think, did the umpire catch that one?
I wonder if he called a balk on the pitcher, because the runners have been instructed to advance 90 feet, and Bud Black's wondering the same thing.
I think that ball caught the home plate umpire, Dan Bellino, under his right arm. No? Walters is asking him if he's okay. Take a look at it again. Look at his right arm right up here. He caught it between his arm and his body.
Sure did.
Walters is looking around for it. He says, where did that go? Dan Bellino says, here, I have it here. I didn't see the balk call. Maybe we can look at that again. That was kind of odd.
Read his lips. I'm good, thank you.
I mean, if you're Mike Dunn, you're thinking he just caught my best fastball with his bicep. And he's not even flinching. Well, here comes the slider. The fastball is in the dirt.
Joey says, nice job to the opposing catcher. 3-2. And Votto draws a walk. So Dunn has come in, walk, single, walk, and the Reds down by 7 have him loaded. And here's Scooter Gennett.
Now this will be Dunn's last guy with the right-handed part of the order coming up. At least Suarez on deck. 2 of the next 3 are right-handed. And looks like Adam Ottavino warming up in the Rocky bullpen.
Sharp slider there, pretty tight on the outside corner, strike one. Jeanette, RBI double in the first, single in the third, had a 7 straight at-bat streak with a base hit come to an end his last trip in the 6th inning when he struck out against Marquez. Bases loaded for Scooter. That was good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And as Chris speculated, that's going to be all for Dunn. So he goes a third of an inning, allows a hit, a couple of walks, and a strikeout. And Ottavino's having as good a relief season as any reliever in Major League Baseball. Will come on from the Rockies bullpen. Reds have him loaded, 1 out.
Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
That's where we were yesterday, up hiking around.
It's a
Outside
nice
of
looking
Boulder.
hike.
Tell you what, it was big league. That's in Boulder, Colorado. It's about a 35-minute ride. And of course, that's the home of the University of Colorado Buffaloes. Adam Ottavino, look at those numbers that he has put together so far this season. We'll put them back up for you because it's mind-boggling. .093 batting average against, 45 punch-outs in 27 innings.
Well, that's an Aroldis Chapman type of a strikeout to innings pitch ratio there.
He's faced 94 batters and struck out 45 of them. Eugenio Suarez has walked, struck out, and popped up to the shortstop Story. 0 for 2. Reds have the bases loaded. Winker, Barnhart, Votto aboard with 1 out. It's an 8-1 Rockies lead. We're in the 8th. Boy, Ottavino wondering where that one missed. It's been a tight strike zone today again by a major league umpire, seemingly every night. That did look low. It's Dan Bellino behind the plate. That is a fair ball, and Suarez does not run. At the Great American Ballpark on Saturday, June the 9th. If you're one of the first 20,000 through the gate, you get a Scooter Jeanette bobblehead presented by Dynegy Energy Services. That'll be a popular day. Visit Reds.com for tickets. Jackson Stevens. You've been talking about this guy, Chris, for the better part of the last couple of weeks. You like what this young man has shown so far.
You know, he's a guy, Tom, that is kind of under the radar because, you know, while all the other big-name prospects have been getting the headlines, meanwhile, Jackson Stevens, who, you know, drafted, came through the Reds organization, is still a really young pitcher. I think he's only 24 years old. And he just gets the job done. I liked his ability to spin up the breaking ball, and there it is.
Dahl 1 of 4. He homered back in the Colorado first inning. Rockies with 14 base hits here today. Trying to get out of here with a series win and maintain a half-game lead over the battling Diamondbacks, who are in a 1-1 tie in the 6th inning at Oakland. Reds will see those Diamondbacks tomorrow night from Chase Field in downtown Denver, or downtown Phoenix, and of course Arizona is where the Reds call spring training home, so that's becoming quite familiar turf with all of those in the Reds traveling party, including you, Mr. Welsh.
Yeah.
Now, you're always kind of a Florida guy, and now you're becoming a little bit of an Arizona guy.
I love spring trainings out there. Really great place to be. Baseball's convenient, the weather's perfect.
I mean, you've really become an Arizona guy.
I'm not sure what the definition of that means, but I'll take it in February and March.
Now, when the Reds played the Diamondbacks, you know, that was my very poor imitation of the former Red skipper Jerry Narron. And no one does Jerry Narron, besides Jerry Narron, better than Jim Day. And we are planning on having a sit-down interview with Jim Day and Jerry Narron when the Diamondbacks come to Cincinnati later this summer. We talked about the Rockies, so few number of games, at least in decent weather. And today is a beautiful day, and compared to what they've done in the frigid temperatures through April and frequently being at home, this is what you expect once the summer gets going. By the way, Brandon Dixon is taking over for Joey Votto at first base. And Noel Cuevas will come up and pitch hit. This guy's done a good job in this series and really for this year. 5 of 15 as a pinch hitter. 2 for 2, including the game-winning triple here on Friday night. He is batting for Ottavino, who faces one batter and gets a double play ball. Reds are hitting the 3 best spots really to hit in the National League West on this road trip. I mean, there might be some out there, you know, maybe they have family and friends in Los Angeles or San Francisco. Obviously great ballparks, great tradition, both of those franchises, but just getting around the towns, you know, 2 of these 3 ballparks, Chris, on this swing, you're pretty much guaranteed to have really good weather in Denver. Well, all 3 are guaranteed to have good weather. It can be very warm in Phoenix, but you've got a retractable dome. You don't have to worry about it. But, you know, 2 of the 3 get to walk from the hotel to the ballpark. This has been a really nice day. Always is in Denver.
It is. Sometimes if you have Denver scheduled either early or late in the season, you can run into some weather problems, especially early, because it can snow here, you know, right up until the middle of May. Well, we've had a beautiful weekend here.
See, a lot of the fans have stayed around for this one, especially those in the shade. Back-to-back outs recorded by Stevens here in the Colorado 8th inning. You look on that Sun side, they've been in the sun all day long on the first base side, and a few of those folks have either moved or gotten out of here, but those in the shade side, third base side, still packed in here pretty good. Jim Day will be bouncing around the Reds clubhouse after the game. Gather all you need to know for what happened here today and getting you ready. Jim will be calling the play-by-play for the Arizona series, and then your longtime partner, Chris, George Grant, will be back in the saddle again in San Diego.
Always good to see George Grant.
Oh, yeah.
Probably tuned in at home right now.
I bet you're right. Or maybe earlier.
Now, George is the first to the ballpark and the last to leave.
One ball and 2 strikes on Trevor Story. Jackson Stevens looking for a perfect 8th inning, and he got it. Boy, that's a nasty breaking ball. Chris Welsh been talking about this guy for a while now, and he's delivering the goods. Could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota, for over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. Colorado will bring on a new pitcher here for the 9th inning. Brooks Pounders, a right-hander. We've not seen him in the series.
Now, he's been in the big leagues before this year. He was up with Kansas City in 2016 for a little bit, and also a cup of coffee with the Angels a couple of years ago. Spent last season in Albuquerque or this part of this season in Albuquerque, and now up here pitching his 7th game overall.
Jackson Stevens, a perfect inning. A couple of strikeouts. Shebler fouls one back. Strike one. Shebler 0 for 3 today. 8 runs, 14 hits, 8 left on base for the Rockies. Reds 1 run, 6 hits, no errors, and they've stranded 7. Shebler drives one into deep left center field. This might get out of here, or it might not. Caught in front of the wall. Tell you one thing, you know, and Jim Day reported on this a little bit earlier about some of the comments that Jim Riggleman has made here about this Reds outfield. It's going to be interesting. You know, they started the year with that 4-man rotation, and you know, everybody sort of felt it would work itself out. Unfortunately, Chris, as Peraza dumps one into right center field, his 2nd hit today, none of the 4 really has done much of anything to be able to look the manager in the eye and say, I'm the one that deserves to be playing every day. Let the other three figure out who gets the other two spots.
So really then it goes on to Jim Riggleman to say, all right, well, what do I think are the best matchups? In this ballpark, he needed to have Billy Hamilton in defensively center field. So, you know, that was one space already taken. You get in a smaller ballpark, and that may not be the case. Hamilton will get more time off probably at home than he would in some of these big yards like Coors Field, Petco Park in San Diego.
Here's Duvall coming on to pinch hit for the pitcher Jackson Stevens. Well, I beg your pardon. I think Bud Black was confused like I was. He assumed that that this was a pitcher's spot. It's not. It's Brandon Dixon's spot in the batting order. Ball one to Duvall with Peraza at first, and the Reds down 8-1. And a base hit into left field. Boy, how long do you think that feels like it's been for Duvall? We know exactly how long it's been. May the 18th. Here we are today on May the 27th. Here's Billy Hamilton. And a lazy pop-up that'll fall in, a base hit. So the Reds load him up on 3 singles. And Jesse Winker coming up. You never know in this ballpark. I mean, virtually every other ballpark there is in baseball. Maybe if you're at Wrigley Field and the wind's blowing out 20, 30 miles an hour. But there have been some crazy games, crazy finishes when one team looked pretty much done and all of a sudden found life. Ball one on Winker. 0 for 3 has drawn a walk. He threw that fastball right by Winker at 92 miles per hour. San Francisco will come rolling in here to take on their division rivals tomorrow night. Pulled foul. And just in case things should get a little more interesting for the Reds on offense, they have their closer Wade Davis up and throwing. We are a long ways from this being a, well, if Winker would have hit a grand slam, it would become a save situation. That gets through, and it'll bring a run home. That makes it an 8-2 game.
Right through the wickets.
Well, he scored a wild pitch. Walters will be the first to tell you that's a ball he has to keep in front of him. Meanwhile, it's 3-2 on Winker. Still waiting on Pounders to get the sign. He does, and now the 3-2. Pulled foul again.
Yeah, that's not the only one that Walters has left by. He was the catcher who let that ball get by him, and the ball got lodged between the home plate umpire's arm and his body. And that's a rule that got by me at the time, Tom. We thought it was a balk. It was not a balk. That's a lodged ball umpire in umpire's equipment. So when that happens, even if it's a strike, all the runners move up. I think they give him a wild pitch here, but basically that's what it is.
And if you're curious about baseball rules at any level, baseballrulesacademy.com. It's a big league website.
I actually looked it up between innings and saw the video.
On your own website.
On my own website, because I forgot that I taped one with Ted
you know
Barrett
you're
about
breaking
that.
down. That's when you really know you're breaking down. Here's ball 4. Well, Buddy Black is standing right there. Just told the catcher to go out and talk to the pitcher. They want to find out if Wade Davis is ready down there. Right now, if he comes into the game, it would not be a save situation because the tying run would have to be standing in the on-deck circle. And, of course, that would be, in essence, a 7th run for the Reds. All right, so here's Tucker Barnhart. You got the big hitters coming up.
And that was enough time to get his relief pitcher enough tosses to get loose. And Bud Black's going to make the pitching change.
So Wade Davis, their closer, will come on. We will be back in a moment. Of Mr. Pounder. They're going to bring on their closer, even though this now is a non-save situation. Wade Davis in his first year with Colorado. Of course, he pitched last season, his only season as a member of the Chicago Cubs. Cubs decided to not bring back Davis, and they went out and signed Brandon Morrow to be their closer. Tucker Barnhart, the batter, with the bases loaded and one out. Reds are trailing 8-2. Oh my goodness, a line drive right back into the body of Davis, and that's a double play to end the game.
Boy, both these ball games have ended in line drive double plays on back-to-back nights. Last night, the line drive to Scooter Gennett. This one right back at Wade Davis. Now he's looking around for somebody to cover up a bag here somewhere. And that is out number 27.
So 8-2 is the final. Colorado wins the series 2-1. We'll be back to wrap things up in a moment.